Our next news, the BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro is set to unfold without the usual leadership presence of China's President Xi Jinping, who is skipping the gathering for the first time in 12 years. Xi's absence alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin's remote participation due to his war crime charges has raised questions about the future dynamics within the bloc. Traditionally seen as a counterbalance to Western power, Xi's absence has sparked speculation, with experts suggesting it may be related to China's recent diplomatic engagement with Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva for the rising prominence of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will be honored during this summit. With the BRICS facing growing economic pressures, especially from U.S. tariffs, the summit represents a critical moment for the bloc. Brazil under Lula is pushing to elevate its global influence, hosting the G20, BRICS and COP30 talks ahead of national elections next year. In this context, Lula has also taken the opportunity to critique the austerity-driven economic model championed by Western powers, arguing it undermines the potential for sustainable growth in emerging economies like Brazil. Let us listen to what the Brazilian president had to say.
O modelo da austeridade é certo em nenhum país do mundo. A chamada austeridade exigida pelas instituições financeiras levaram os países a ficar mais pobres. Porque toda vez que se fala de austeridade, o pobre fica mais pobre e o rico fica mais rico.
Now we are joined for this discussion with Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst joining us live from Taipei. Thank you, Ross, for joining us today. Good to see you. What does Xi Jinping's absence mean for China's influence within the BRICS and the bloc's unity going forward?
A one-time absence probably does not mean a loss of influence for China. China is an important trading partner and/or an investor for many of the BRICS countries, including some of the new entrants to the BRICS or some of the observers that attend the BRICS meetings. So in the medium or long term, it probably won't have much of an impact on China's influence with BRICS countries or even around the world. Of course, President Lula da Silva is extremely disappointed. He's worked very hard to have a good relationship with China. He would have expected or assumed that Xi Jinping would have attended this summit in Brazil. So it definitely is a big loss for the prestige of this particular summit.
And building on that, now we see that India's Prime Minister Modi is welcomed in a significance. How could the rising profile of India's Prime Minister Modi shift this balance of power within BRICS, according to you?
Probably not, because the difference between India and China in this context is that China is a significant investor in some of these countries, whereas India is not. Some of these countries have good relations with both India and China, but the motivations are different. But when it comes to actually building projects, whether that's industrial projects or that's infrastructure projects, China is at the moment far ahead of India at doing that. So I think these countries, again, they would have liked to have seen Xi Jinping there. They're all disappointed, and the biggest disappointed leader, of course, is the host. But I think over the medium or the long term, it's not going to affect China's influence in the BRICS countries. So if it becomes a habit of Xi Jinping to skip the BRICS summit, then that's a different conversation to have going forward. But I think skipping one is probably not going to have too much of a detrimental impact on Xi Jinping or China's influence.
Thank you, Ross, for